So recently a friend of mine ventured into ASMR himself. I found it noble, brave, and kind of just inspiring, frankly, because I've been so anxious to do this. I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing it, but ASMR is something I've enjoyed for years now, probably back since the inception. I mean, I remember watching, since probably 2012, so 7 years now. So I figured his act of bravery should inspire me to start. So here we are. This will be, let's classify it soft-spoken. I don't know how whispering's gonna go yet for me, but we'll do soft-spoken. And what this is going to be, given my shirt, if you can see, Polaroid. I am a photographer by trade. So we're going to be going over some slide film that I recently just got back from development. I figured this would be kind of a fun little soiree into it, a good way to ease myself into it, because I always use my camera as a crutch in social situations. So I figured, why not here? Why not get started doing something I can speak to? I can just speak extemporaneously. I won't get stuck, and hopefully it should be somewhat relaxing. To be determined, I suppose, but in other words, let's go ahead and get started. I'll be then transitioning from this, so you don't have to stare at my face anymore, to the slides. For those of you curious, it will be Ektachrome, which is E100, 35mm, since they don't have 120 out yet. But yeah, let's see what we got. We have a small collection of some of my favorite slides, as well as the others that we won't be getting to today, whether they're just not good enough for my liking, or, well, frankly, I just don't like them because I'm very critical of my work. But we can take a look here and kind of start to dissect each individual thing now. The company that mounted these unfortunately mounted them backwards. This gray side should be what's down, but unfortunately is not. But it is just a small discrepancy, because I still think that the art of slide photography and checking these out is a complete joy, frankly. So I'm going to put the images up on screen so you can actually see them, see the scans themselves in their entirety, and then I'll talk in between. We can just enjoy as we go. There aren't phenomenal stories to each of them, but I think there's something to be told. Each moment is special in film photography. I find that I hold on to the memory longer than any of my digital work. Digital is just so touch and go, whereas everything with film is so involved. It's such an intimate process. It's not intimate in that sense where it's like so many people like to romanticize it, but it's involved and deliberate. So that's what I like so much about it. And this is just 35mm. If we're talking something like medium format or large format even, then that just gets amplified all the more. So let's see, I'm gonna send this one back to the stockpile. Let's start here. This slide right here is a cool little barn that was right off a road. It's called Arthur Road. It's off a main stretch I drive near daily. I took this photo because at the time Red Dead Redemption 2 was consuming my life and my girlfriend's life, and that was basically our extracurriculars for a day. I just always saw it, and I thought it was interesting, and given the name Arthur Road, it kind of gained a new significance. R.I.P. Arthur. We miss you, buddy. Sorry, that was dorky. Let's get this one out of the way, because it's terrible. It's just a selfie. And as you can see, this film is daylight balanced, So the white balance is clearly very off, very distorted, and not what it should be. But I think, not to be vain, but I think it's important for us to take selfies in a certain capacity. This one isn't all that substantial, just in general, if we're doing something in our lives or just to document and catalog who we are and how we develop and evolve as our own person. I think there's some credence to that, definitely. Next up, again, off a main stretch of road that's actually right off the path where I typically go to Starbucks every day, is another cute little barn, kind of isolated by itself, very standoffish, but still very prominent in its isolation, which I think is what really draws my eye to it more than anything, is that we're constantly seeing, in the city that is, building after building, distraction after distraction. But when you get used to the desolation of the countryside, then when you have a cute little property pop up, or a little farm, or a little barn, or whatever it may be, there's a beauty to it. I definitely think there is. And now to the next one, where there is beauty, there is also, well, I wouldn't call it ugly, but it's a little bit of an ugly home. It's rather, I actually think it's condemned. I don't know for sure, but there's some story behind it. As you can see, there were some light leaks going on through a few of these photos, and unfortunately I sold this camera before I had these photos developed, so I'm very, very worried that it may be an issue, but I'm really hoping that it was just me playing with the film back and popping it off. Not popping it, just playing with the knob that releases the film back. I'm praying that's what it was, so that the new owner doesn't have any issues with her camera. Now, here's one. This is a while ago. This is actually a garbage truck that looked to be doing its rounds, and it got a little lost and slid off the side of the driveway. And I remember seeing it early in the day and coming back mid to late afternoon and having it still be stranded. So that's a bad day to be that driver, that is for sure. But again, really significant light leaks on that one, which, again, I hope is not an issue. This next photo is of a garage just adjoined to a local photography store. Nothing special to it, just something that I see often, wanted to document. I'm sure people that frequent the store as well would be able to identify it and have no problem doing so. But colors look nice. I think, for me, this film is always really tricky to work with because it's unforgiving. And at the time I was shooting this, I was very new to film. And that kind of shows in a lot of these photos where the exposure isn't quite on. I was trusting the in-camera meter, which I may have trusted foolishly, and it may have gotten fooled, and I may have, I may have goofed up a little bit, as I do, but in film, it's unforgiving. Digital, you can pretty much fix anything. Next photo is from a little drive that I was taking after shooting some medium format, and I saw this home just off to the side, off the beaten path, and damn near caused an accident trying to do a Y turn, so I could pull over and take a few photos of it, both medium format and 35mm here on Ektachrome. Again, another home that I believe was condemned. It looked abandoned. It looked like it had been broken into. There was signage posted, I mean, damn near everywhere on the front of it, so I assume as much. But there's something cool about the abandonment of homes, because we see homes as such a personal thing, such a place of memory, to then see it abandoned and left to rot is, there's an interesting dichotomy there to be explored. Kind of want to do a photo series on that, but I don't know how viable that is as a path for a project, but it could be kind of interesting. It was from another winter day, but nothing all that special. But the last one, probably one of my favorites here, is of a woman at a kind of iconic local bookstore. She was just doing what looked to be bookkeeping, and she was just diligently writing. I mean, didn't have a care in the world what was happening behind her. She was in her books. She was doing what she needed to, and I don't know. There was something to that. She looked as if she was, yeah, just a fixture of the store, not so much an employee or a person. It was more like she was part of the character of the place, if that makes any sense. Now again, being that this is a daylight balanced film, I was indoors and threw off the white balance. I tried to adjust it the best I could, but being that these are just digital scans, you can only do so much, but I think it still turned out rather well. And you know what? Let's have that be our last photo. So I hope that you all enjoyed this process. I hope you found some appreciation behind the images or the thought behind the images, or maybe they got you thinking in a different way, or maybe you just wanted to hear someone ramble on. Whatever your inspiration for coming here today, I hope you got what you were looking for, and I'm personally very much looking forward to making more of these. I'm realistically going to crutch on photography and potentially video as well, seeing as that's mainly what I do, and that's what I'll be comfortable with initially, so I'm hoping I do a decent enough job at presenting this and bringing you some value and some relaxation. But until next video.